Welcome to day 3 of your self-discovery with me, Christina Castellanik. So day 1, we know now that resistance plays a big is a big deal when it comes to limiting our healing, and it limits our movement to this new frequency, to this new way of being. So day 1, we got to catch and see what resistance looks like. We got to maybe catch it in our lives, and we continue to do that as we try to move out of that usual, normal, familiar, safe place, and then try to break free and move into something new and different. Then day 2, we went through fight, flight, and freeze, that survival strategy in our nervous systems. And we talked about how that next R is renegotiation, that renegotiating that fight, flight, and freeze pattern within us is essential if we want to move forward to this new way of being. And then today, day 3, we are going to get better acquainted with the different parts of us, how they form, how they put us in a bind within our bodies, physically, mentally, emotionally, and then they prevent us from moving forward on any things we want to do in our lives. We need to address the different parts of us and choose from a conscious place what part we want to validate, what part we want to experience, and what part will help us to move forward in our lives the way that we want to. So we are going to be focusing on that today. So here are little puzzle pieces. I like to think of us as this very complex puzzle that is not yet complete and probably never will be. Our souls are these giant puzzle pieces that are moving through our lives, through time. And if you believe in multiple lifetimes, we just continually process and learn our lessons and keep evolving. So these parts, there are parts of these puzzle pieces. Some of them are actually done. Maybe parts of our puzzle is actually already put together, tiny little chunks of it. Those are the things that we actually know about ourselves and can be fairly well defined. And some of those things might want to be pulled apart and restructured as well. Those parts of us that we might see and feel that don't serve us any longer. We want to recreate that puzzle. But there are also puzzle pieces that are not put together yet. And some of those pieces are conscious. We know about them. We see them there. It's a part of who I am, but it's not yet integrated into the definition of who I am, or even manifest in the physical world in any real way. And then some of these pieces are unconscious. That's what we talked about yesterday with the autonomic nervous system. We don't know about it. We can only maybe feel it sometimes, or we sense it in our bodies occasionally, or we see the outward effects of that puzzle piece in our lives. We're constantly arguing with somebody in our lives, then we can kind of see that puzzle piece, but it's still very unconscious. All the parts of that, all the things about that are still unconscious. So some of these pieces, whether they're conscious or unconscious, hold us back from what we really want to experience in our lives. And so we want to bring these unconscious pieces to our conscious awareness so that we can do something about it. This is that autonomic nervous system acting out of our patterning stored from our history and through our genetics and through our ancestry and lineage that we carry within us, through our early childhood. These unconscious pieces get reenacted in our lives, and we want to bring them slowly to conscious awareness. That's what we're going to do a bit more today in our experiential piece, where we get to see these unconscious pieces and how they are there, and they prevent us from moving forward on that one goal we want to create or manifest in our lives. So we are constantly recreating ourselves and bringing awareness to the different parts of ourselves. And this helps us to heal so that we can move forward in the way that we actually want to in our lives. Oftentimes in adulthood, we are parenting ourselves. We are reparenting. We are rewiring ourselves from our childhood and from even the things that we hold on and think that it's who we are. And then we have to break that down and recognize that that's not what we want to be anymore. So that we're constantly recreating ourselves. So throughout childhood, we have particular aspects of ourselves that are not validated or encouraged by those around us. When this happens, we unconsciously see this as parts of us that don't have much value. And so then we form a belief that says, she didn't see, or he didn't see, or the culture didn't see this part of me. And then we don't see it as valuable. And so then we no longer express it. We might feel an ache about that. We might feel a longing or a sadness or a stuckness because we don't get to express that piece, but we don't know it until we let ourselves feel into that piece. Sometimes aspects of ourselves are even discouraged or thwarted in early childhood, so not welcome at all by the current family system or by the culture as a whole. If this happens, then those parts and aspects of ourselves can be split off, and we can think of this as shadow sides of us. Those not only, they become hidden and we don't want to acknowledge them. And then there's even like little parts of us that try to protect us from seeing those pieces of ourselves. So I know all of this is very abstract, so I'm just going to share a sort of example to maybe help illustrate this. So in my history, my lineage, I identify deeply with my connection with my grandfather. He, on my father's side, he grew up in a communist country, and 1920s, 30s, 40s, and he wanted to do really well for his family. He wanted to earn more and bring in food. He was a farmer, so food and just supply better life for his family. In communism, that's really not encouraged. He went above and beyond, and they threatened his life, and he had to flee. He had to run, came to Canada, like so many others. That story is very common. But my grandfather then built up this belief that I work hard and that's who I am. I work and 23 hours a day. He helped build the railroad in Canada. And there was no time for anything else. There was no expression of any other parts within him. So I identified with him because I loved him. And you grow up with knowing your grandparents and parents, and you see what they do, and they impress upon you what's important to them, of course. And I identified with that work piece. You work hard, and then you get the rewards from that. And over again in adulthood, I see that it's not bringing me happiness. It's not bringing me what I truly want, to really just work very, very hard. And so I'm pulling apart all of these pieces that are kind of bound up in him, in what he impressed upon me, and what is also inside of me as my blueprint, right? So I think about how he never had time to play. He never had time to be silly or creative. And that was never valued in my early childhood. And so I could see myself now daily burying that part of me that is playful, silly, creative within myself. When I was a child, I loved to sing, but my parents couldn't see that. I wanted to be a singer. And again, they couldn't acknowledge the silly, playful, beautiful, creative energies of us, right? And so over and over again, it would just be buried. So right now, as I talk about my history, all of this, I can feel my ear burning on the left side. It is hot. So this ear on and off burns when I kind of go through my pieces around this. So now, present day, when my husband is being silly and playful and creative, I find that there's a part of me that gets very irritated, that this is wrong. We need to be serious. Let's have a deep conversation again. Let's figure something out. And so I notice within myself, right, knowing these parts of me, knowing where they come from, knowing that they reside in me, I'm going to work on them. And so that's how you work on them. My husband brings in a playful piece and then I reject it. And oh, I notice my rejection of it. And I take a deep breath. I feel that part of me that doesn't want to, whatever. And then there's this other piece of me right there that also wants to play, that also wants to be silly and have fun. And can I lean into that part too sometimes? So as I talk about silliness and playfulness and creative energy, the heat in my ear subsides a little bit. It went down, it was up high, like an 8 out of 10. Now it's at a 6 out of 10. So whatever that means, I get to explore that for myself and see what that holds. That's the whole part of what Bodywise is all about, giving you the tools to kind of notice what's happening in your body about the different parts and then being able to work your way through it. So that kind of gives you a concrete example of what it might look like in your life, but parts and pieces of your story and how how it manifests in your world. And now we get to discover and explore perhaps different parts of you. So if you can find a comfortable place to sit or lie down, and we're going to hold the intention of exploring different parts of us today. But first, we're just going to settle into this moment. Letting yourself find your seat underneath you and noticing, maybe closing your eyes, taking a deep breath in and out, and moving your awareness to a part of your body right now that actually feels settled, calm, and open. Maybe the sun is streaming in somewhere and you can feel it on your face, or you can feel the warmth of it. Maybe it's that feeling of your legs on the chair, your buttock on the chair. But bringing your awareness to that part of you that is open and settling. Just letting it be there for a moment. Noticing where this open spot resides, this calm, settled part of you. As you bring your awareness to this open, settled, calm part of you, just see if it starts to grow or shift in some way. Allowing it to do that. And now we're going to notice our intention here, that goal that you want to accomplish, or that thing that you want more of in your life. Bring it to the forefront of your mind now. Reiterate it, even verbally right now. Everyone's on mute, so just even say it out loud. What do you want more of? What is it that you're wanting to accomplish? And in the silence that follows as you say those words, noticing through the body the different sensations and emotions that pop up right now. And take your time and name all of the pieces and parts that show up as you named your intention, your goal. You might want to name it out loud, write it down, whatever you want. Just name each part, noticing how many there are. And so naming each one, notice one of them that feels a bit uncomfortable, maybe a little constricted as you named your goal. As you bring your awareness to this uncomfortable, constricted part of you around this goal, we're going to allow it to be here. See if you can be present to this discomfort, this constriction. And we're going to ask ourselves, what is this protecting me from? What does it think? What is it doing? What is it actually protecting me from? It doesn't matter if you think you're making up the answer. We're going to sit with this part of you that's a little constricted, a little uncomfortable. You're going to ask, what are you protecting me from? And notice the answer that arrives. The answer might surprise you, might make you think that you're making it up. Doesn't matter. We throw all that out the window. This is what you need to know right now, whatever it is. Sorry, guys. Don't know if you can hear my kids. And so just feeling into this acknowledging that it's protecting you in some way. Notice if you can allow that to be there. And now we're going to turn to a different part of you, this wanting for this goal to occur, this wanting, this desire. There's a part of you that feels this urge to make it happen. As I say that, notice what shows up in your physiology. I want this to happen. I need this in my life. As I say this, see what lights up within you. And feel the sensations of it right now. This wanting. Noticing the size and shape, noticing the quality of the sensation of this wanting your goal. And even notice, just as if it's a relationship, you're calling out for it and it's starting to move towards you. Noticing how you feel this in your own physiology as it moves towards you. And in this moment, as it moves towards you, what is the first step that arrives even spontaneously right now? What is the first thing you need to do or think or feel or be? What is the first thing that needs to happen for this to come into your life? What's the next step? You may want to write it down if it's come to you. And notice this first step that you can take. Notice your reaction to it. Maybe different parts show up again. There's a part of you that's rejecting this first task. There's a part of you that is motivated to create this, to do this first thing, this first task. But we're gonna make a little agreement with our bodies right now that today we're gonna do that little piece of work. That first thing that moves us towards our goal. We're going to make that first step today. And as we decide this, feel how the body takes this in. And whenever you're ready, you can come back slowly into the room. You can write down anything you thought of there or the task that you need to get done that moves you towards your goal. And then today, we get to do that thing and notice what happens in your body as you're doing it, after you get it done. What's that experience like? You're going to be able to feel all those different parts of you, some rejecting it, some accepting it. And can you just let all those parts be there as you sift through them all? So I'm going to shut this recording and we can ask questions, but I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you to all of those who are watching day 3 self-discovery, and I will see you guys tomorrow.